Hey everyone, welcome back to FedBiz Exchange. I'm Michelle Brown, your coach and your mentor, and it's time for Ask Michelle B. Today's subject is manufacturing partners and clients. Let's get into it. Today's question is from Berwin M. Berwin, thank you for your question. The question is, how did you, meaning me, how did you acquire manufacturing partners and clients? Berwin, this is an outstanding question because this question stops a lot of you from moving forward. You don't know how you're going to get the resources. You don't know how you're going to make this happen. The only way you can think of things sometimes is, does this mean I have to do everything myself? It absolutely does not mean that. You know that I've won many of contracts without me being able to create bolts myself. I'm not a manufacturer of bolts. I barely knew anything about bolts. I don't make paint. I barely knew anything about paint. I don't make pharmaceutical drugs. I do know a lot about pharmaceutical drugs, but I didn't originally have a wholesale pharmaceutical license. But now I can make those things happen regardless. And I'm going to tell you how. So here's my answer. First, the question about clients. How did I get clients? Well, you guys know I've traveled all over the country training businesses from everywhere. So we have a long list of clients, and sometimes clients will approach me or they'll call the office to talk to my staff to ask, can I hire Michelle? That's how I have clients, is because of my experience. I am around the country, up until COVID, training people, businesses everywhere. I'm so fortunate to know all types of CEOs and presidents from different size companies that are looking to get into government contracts. And most of the time, they show up in my class and my workshops. Number two, once I knew what the client wanted to sell to the government, I needed to make sure that they understood what they were doing. I would have to validate this through research. I would get with the client and their team and go through a session of doing some research. I'm not going to work with a client that is not sure about what they need to do or what they want to sell to the government. We had to validate what they wanted to do, like in this case, hardware, bolts, paints, all kinds brackets, all kinds of things like that. But I needed them to do the research with me. So I guided them through the research to validate what they wanted to do. Number three, then we found solicitations to bid on and match the research. We could see, yes, there's a lot of opportunity out there. So we started looking for bids in FBO and other places, and also DIBS, especially DIBS. We got signed up right away with DIBS because DIBS has a lot of hardware that they want to get from the public sector. So that was a great place to start. But we also did it in FBO as well. And then number four, we had to understand what the government is asking for. As an example, the bolts. They want specific bolts with an NSN matched to it. I talk about the PSC codes, but the NSN on the defense logistics side is the item, the specific item. So the PSC code is the first part of that NSN. That's how I know what the government wants. I can't give them what I want to give them. I can't tell them I have these bolts in stock. Can I sell these to you? They're going to tell me no, and don't come back unless you want to bid on what I'm asking for. I take that NSN, I look at who the approved sources are. How do I find the approved sources? The government tells me who they are. The government will say, we want these bolts from this company. Can you get these bolts, and what's your price, is basically what they're saying. Okay, so we start out with the approved sources, the companies or the manufacturers that the government uses their products specifically. However, sometimes those manufacturers and companies are not competitive. Their prices are not reasonable, and they're jacking up the price to try and keep small businesses out of the game because they know if we as small businesses can't do it, they can do it. The government will come to them eventually. So we have to figure this out. I decided I have clients who are manufacturers. So I brought in one of my manufacturing clients and asked him, will you make these bolts for us? I gave him the drawings from DIBS, DLA, and I wanted to make sure that he could do it competitively. I wanted to make sure that he could make money, and he did it. He says, Michelle, I can do this. So I introduced him to my other client that I was winning the contracts for, and that's how that marriage was made. Everybody has to make money. When we're working with these large companies, they want to squeeze the situation, either squeeze us so that we get less, or they want to squeeze the government. The government would rather work with small businesses like us because they know we want to be in that game, and if we can figure it out, they want to work with us. It's beneficial for them to work with us because they know the large companies gouge them. So when I worked with this manufacturer, bringing two of my clients together, it was a win-win for all of us. Hey guys, I know government contracting can be a little challenging, but don't forget you have Ask Michelle B. Ask me your government contracting questions anytime, anything you want to know.